The Senator from West Virginia.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm so proud to be here today to join my colleagues to discuss the current Supreme Court vacancy and specifically what an excellent choice President Trump made in selecting Amy Coney Barrett to fill that vacancy. I, like my colleagues and many Americans, watched the Senate Judiciary Committee hearings on Judge Barrett's nomination last week. I also have had a chance to meet personally with the judge myself. During all of these occasions, I have been extremely impressed with Judge Amy Coney Barrett. I was especially impressed with her depth of legal knowledge, coupled with her demeanor. She very clearly and eloquently expresses herself. She reiterated many times in the hearing that judges don't make the law, and she was level-headed, open-minded, and firm in all of her responses. Judge Barrett is a model of professional and personal success. We've all heard she's a mother of 7, which in and of itself is quite an achievement. And if confirmed, she would be the first mother of school-aged children to serve on the Supreme Court. She's absolutely dedicated to her faith and to her community. And she is held in very high regard by the many students she has taught and mentored over the years. You could certainly tell in the questioning of the Judiciary Committee during that hearing that she has been in the arena many times with very inquisitive people and students. In short, Judge Barrett is a stellar nominee who will show a new generation, our daughters and our granddaughters, that anything is possible in America. I plan to vote to confirm Judge Barrett, and here's why. Evaluating nominees for high government office is an important responsibility for this body of senators. That is even true when the nominee is being considered for a lifetime appointment to the nation's highest court. So I consider really 3 main questionings when I'm considering a Supreme Court nominee. First and foremost, is the nominee qualified? Second, does the nominee have a track record of independence and fairness that befits a judge who will apply our Constitution and laws as written rather than make policy from the bench? And third, do the West Virginians that I represent believe the nominee is well-suited to decide cases that impact their constitutional rights? Based on her impressive resume, Judge Barrett is clearly qualified for the Supreme Court. The Nonpartisan American Bar Association rated her well-qualified. That is the ABA's highest ranking for judicial nominees. Judge Barrett's judicial philosophy and record on the 7th Circuit are those of a mainstream jurist who considers herself bound by the law, not free to decide cases based on her own personal opinions, and she reiterated that time and time again in the Judiciary Committee. That is so important because some of my Democrat Senate colleagues were seeking promises from her about how she will rule in certain cases in the future. And they sought to examine her belief on policy matters such as protections for those with pre-existing conditions. Now, I, for one, strongly support, as most of us do, legal protections to make sure that individuals with pre-existing conditions can purchase and retain health insurance. Passing laws like those are what we should be doing here in this body, not in the Supreme Court. After some of my colleagues were not given the hints that they were looking for on how Judge Barrett would rule on particular cases, they resorted to assuming that they knew what she would do. Specifically, they tried to tie Judge Barrett to those who had mentored her in the past and insinuated that she would judge exactly how they would judge. Well, when that happened, she responded, and I quote, "I assure you, I have my own mind. Everything that he," meaning Scalia, "said is not necessarily what I would agree with or what I would do if I were Justice Barrett," end quote. And it's clear that Judge Barrett has her own mind and will seek to be a fair and impartial judge. The rule of judges to apply our Constitution and leave as written to apply our Constitution and laws as written to the cases before them and not implement their own policy agendas. As Judge Barrett put it in her own words, quote, "Judges just can't wake up one day and say, I have an agenda. I'm going to walk in like a royal queen and impose my will on the world," end quote. Instead, she explained that it is, quote, "never appropriate for a judge to impose the judge's personal convictions in determining the outcome of a case. She also went on to say, a judge must apply the law as written. Judges are not policymakers, and they must be resolute in setting aside any policy views that they might hold. Judge Barrett's success in applying the law is reflected in the fact that over 90% of the majority opinions that she has written were unanimously agreed to by her colleagues on the Seventh Circuit. No decision she has written has ever been overturned or reversed by the Supreme Court. This record is only possible when a judge is deciding cases fairly and in accord with the mainstream views of colleagues appointed by both Republican and Democrat presidents. West Virginians want a Supreme Court justice with experience and integrity who will protect the Constitution and decide cases fairly. West Virginians want a Supreme Court justice who will serve as our role model for our children and our grandchildren. And that is why I will be proud to vote to confirm Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the United States Supreme Court. I yield the floor. Thank you.